Welcome back to the channel today, guys, and I am so happy that we finally get to do this episode of Uncle from Another World today. But, yet again, I have to give you guys some bad news regarding this series, and it's really starting to kind of irritate me that I have to constantly do that for this series, but it is what it is, I suppose. Uncle from Another World is going on another hiatus, guys. After this episode, they will be on another hiatus. But what's different about this one is that it's an indefinite one this time. Meaning that they don't know when they're going to be coming back. And that sucks, man. That really sucks. Like, seriously. This episode was so good, but it's COVID, guys. It's COVID yet again. Like, COVID is still very rampant in Japan, and that's just, it's a damn shame. It's a damn shame, dude. I still hope nothing but the best of health for the people that create this series, but it really sucks. So this is going to be our last Uncle video for a while, yet again. But let's perk the hell up, because this episode was great. So let's just get straight into it and talk about Uncle from Another World, episode 7 today. So in this episode, we begin with a little bit of Elf's morning shenanigans. Now, Uncle makes it weird, but I think it's kind of adorable, actually, what happens. She's doing all this stuff to get her pendant, which is obviously very important to her. And Uncle walks in that situation, and he's like, yo, what are you doing? And then he's like, oh, I want my hoodie back, by the way. Because Elf loves this hoodie, guys. Like, I think she wears it literally every chance she gets. She probably sleeps in it every night. And she's like, no, you gave it to me. It's mine now. Forever. And Uncle, he's like, no, forget that. I want my hoodie. So he actually chains her up and tries to take it off her by force. And I'm like, yo, Uncle. Yo, this could turn into a very different show very quickly in this situation. And he's like, damn, I can't get it off because of the chains. And Elf's like, oh, why don't you just undo the magic for a second? He's like, yeah, that's a great idea. She fucking cold cocks him. Obviously, even I'd cold cock him in that situation. Like, what are you doing? And I love her. I love that Elf always does these like little hit and runs against Uncle. She knocks him out all the time. She's like, oh, I kind of fucked him up a little bit. Or bandages him and then just runs off and Uncle's just laying there. And Takafumi's just looking at him like, oh, Uncle, what are you doing? And Uncle says, yeah, I never got the hoodie back from her ever. But she ended up giving me this instead. And Takafumi looks at it and he's like, oh, wait a minute. We don't have anyone that could... Yes, we do. And guys, let me say, Fujimiya kind of kills this outfit. I'm going to keep it a buck. She kind of kills it. She looks good in it. I'm just... Hey. I'm a guy. She looks good in it. Let's leave it at that. And Uncle seeing Fujimiya and that says, yeah, Elf used to dress like that all the time. And he says, I kind of miss. And he was going to say, I kind of miss that about her. And he starts kind of feeling nostalgic about the other world. I definitely can see that being a trend moving forward in our show. That he's not gonna realize what he had until much later. I definitely see that. Why do I get the feeling the ending of this series is actually going to be really, really sad? I really get that feeling. But let's move on to the next part of our episode. Now, it's here that they've all been holding a little consensus with each other to try to figure out what are we going to call Uncle's ability to communicate. And they end up picking Takafumi's answer, which is Wild Talker. So that is the name of Uncle's translating ability that they do. And they're glad as hell they didn't have to pick his stupid name. But Fujimiya actually sees the time and she realizes, oh, I gotta go do something at college. And she heads to leave. And they made this scene very meaningful for some reason. we kind of linger on it for a second. And I'm thinking to myself, like, what are we doing here, Uncle? We're making this scene very meaningful. As she does a look over her shoulder as she's leaving and says, bye to Takafumi. And I don't know, it just felt like something was there. They really wanted us to feel a certain type of way in that scene. But we'll leave it at that for now. Enough of Fujimiya for right now. Let's get back to Uncle and Takafumi. Now, it's here that Uncle's showing Takafumi strat in a game, actually. Like, yeah, see, you do this and they fall off the ledge, Takafumi. Like, it's very helpful. And Takafumi, of course, is like, yo, who cares? Who cares, man? And Uncle's like, I'll have you know that gaming saved my life in the other world. And he, again, shows Takafumi a projection of his memories, saying how this is when I teamed up with a group of adventurers, actually, to fight some orcs and goblins. And Takafumi's like, wait, you teamed up with someone? And he's like, yeah, I'll show you. And it's exactly how you would expect it to go. They're attacking him. They think he's a monster. Uncle readily defeats them. And right before they think they're going to get killed by him, actually, Uncle reaches out his hand and says, no, I'm not an orc. I'm a man. And the one girl here remembers him. Like, wait a minute. You're that guy from the summer festival. You're that one guy that beat everyone up. He's like, yeah, that's me. And it's here that they introduce themselves to Uncle. Edgar, Alicia, and Raika. And they're a typical group of adventurers. And Uncle agrees to help them take out this horde of goblins that are going to wipe out a village and all that. So they go and do that, and they're like, how are we going to deal with this situation? And Uncle's like, I got the perfect strat. Let me handle it. And he tries to do the video game strat that he just showed Takafumi. And obviously it ends in superb failure. And Takafumi's just looking at him like, Uncle. And Uncle's like, now hold on a minute, wait a minute, Takafumi. I know that the lure into pitfall trap didn't work, but hear me out here. Uncle says, you know, it's really hard to do that move because you have to do a downward sword slash every time. And Uncle tries to do that against the goblins too, and he's just constantly missing. Takafumi's like, Uncle, what are you doing, man? He's like, I told you it was hard to hit. And Uncle at some point just gets fed up. He's like, you know, I'm done with this. He just starts swinging the sword wildly, breaks a mountain in half, and just completely crushes all the goblins under the rubble. And obviously everyone in the party is stunned, like, what? And Takafumi's just watching this like, Uncle, you're a liar, man! Not any of that stuff from the game ended up saving your life. If anything, it was a hindrance to you. And Uncle just denies it, like, no, I swear, the stuff in this game saved my life, Takafumi. It saved my life. And Takafumi says, you're just bad-mouthing the name of Sega if you keep trying to factor it into everything. You're just running it through the mud. But Uncle actually is walking back with this group of adventurers, and they have a really good relationship. They're doing good. They're actually being like friends and all that. And Takafumi's like, Uncle, you did have friends. You actually did have people you cared about. And who cared about you. And Alicia actually mentions that. You were the one that rebuilt the barrier back in town, right? Because we get a flashback and she actually shows us that she saw Uncle doing it. And Uncle's like, you didn't tell anyone about that, did ya? She's like, no, I would never. They wouldn't believe me even if I did. But Uncle's a freaking idiot, man. Oh my god. Things were going good for once, and he erases everyone's memories. I was watching the episode like, no, Uncle, no, come on. And Takafumi feels the exact same way. Takafumi literally asks Uncle, like, alright, so this is the last time you saw them, right? And Uncle's like, no, I interacted with them a lot of other times, actually. And we bring up another instance of it, where it's the same song and dance, they attack him, Uncle beats them, he says, I'm not an orc, and I like how Ranga even says, like, yo, why do I feel deja vu in this situation? And they reveal what they're doing, actually. Because Uncle says, before he gets into this flashback, that, yeah, there was a time that a certain language just clicked with me all of a sudden. So they explain that, no, we're here to take out a monster's lair that's been in one of these shrines. It's home to a monster hedgehog. And with the second Uncle hears hedgehog, he's like, wait, what? A hedgehog? No way! As blue as my shirt. He's thinking to himself like, yo, it's Sonic! And then he starts going on a little tangent saying, why do monsters hurt people? Why do we have to hurt them? If we can understand them, maybe we don't have to fight anymore. Huh. This man's obsession with Sonic is crazy. And they obviously are like, yeah, you're nuts. Do you understand this situation? And it's here that the hedgehog comes out. And Uncle's like, Sonic! And he turns around and it's just a regular hedgehog. And the look of defeat on this man is priceless. Just, what a fool, man. And Uncle starts pleading with the hedgehog like, I don't want to kill you. I want to understand you. Please tell me what's wrong. Have humans killed your family? Have they encroached on your territory? Please tell me. And it's all of a sudden that the language actually, like, clicks with him because of his ability, and he can actually communicate with the hedgehog. And he's like, alright, what atrocities have befallen you, hedgehog? And the hedgehog tells him that, you know, I don't like human meat. I don't like it. And Uncle's like, alright, then why are you attacking people? And the hedgehog says, it amuses me to stab and torture them. And Uncle's like, what? And the hedgehog's like, yeah, I love killing humans and hearing their death throes. And even I'm just like, yo, what the fuck? And it's saying, like, I like to kill humans in the most painful way possible. And I'm just like, yo, this thing's demented. Even Uncle at this point's like, alright, you can't be saved. And he just wipes out the hedgehog and the whole plane along with it. Oh, hedgehogs, man. They're actually evil. Who'd have thunk it? And it's here, actually, that we take a little detour from our fantasy setting. We get some real-world action, actually. Where Takafumi notices that, oh, Fujimiya left her phone here. Like, we gotta go give this back to her. In today's society, not having your phone is like playing a game without a controller. And Uncle's like, that's an emergency. Let's go right now. So they go and deliver that, actually. They're flying and all that. And they get to her college, and Takafumi sees quite an interesting scene. He sees Fujimiya apparently getting harassed by a really ugly dude, and a flip is switched in Takafumi like, that dude. And Takafumi ain't having this shit. He sees this like, you know, I gotta go down there, and I'm gonna see if he's a good pick for her. And Uncle's like, you sure about that? He's like, yes, as her friend, I have to do that. And Uncle clearly knows Takafumi's pissed the fuck off right now. And he's like, what if he is a good pick for her? What are you gonna do then? And he says, as a friend, I'm gonna have to not butt in. It's not my business. And Uncle's like, alright, but just in case something happens, let me call the spirits up. And he does, and he's like, yo, spirits, what's up, dog? It's me, Uncle from Another World, the YouTube channel. What's good, bro? And he actually ends up giving Takafumi his powers temporarily. All of them. All his magic. And Takafumi says if he ends up being a bad guy, I'm gonna erase him. And even Uncle's like, yo, Takafumi, yo, chill, man. Chill, don't erase anyone. Takafumi's like, only his memories. And Uncle's like, oh shit. You had me worried there. So Takafumi goes down there and confronts these two. And Takafumi is staring daggers at them. He is pissed. He ain't ever been like this in the show before. He's fucking furious. But he's hiding it well, and Fujimiya's like, yo, what are you doing here? And he's like, you forgot your phone. You forgot your fucking phone. And he's staring daggers at them. But all of a sudden, he recognizes the guy, like, wait, is that Chiaki? What? It's me, Takafumi! Do you remember me? And this guy's just staring at him like, huh? Would you say punk? Then all of a sudden, he remembers and he's like, Takafumi Nichan! And I'm just like, no, show, come on! Come on, man! We almost had a good scene! And it turns out that apparently him and Fujimiya are cousins, and he's actually in 4th grade! He's in 4th grade somehow! And Uncle walks up to them and says, wow, I heard kids grow up fast, but that's kind of ridiculous. I can't believe it, but I can because it's this show. And apparently he's an aspiring YouTuber, or at least a mini one, and she introduces him to Uncle, and he's like, oh, it's a YouTuber! Oh my god! And they start having a talk with each other. But he's a zoomer and Uncle's a boomer. They're on completely different wavelengths with each other. And nothing's happening. And as they're talking, Fujimiya actually looks at Takafumi. They have a little discussion of themselves. And she says, you know, you look kind of on edge there for a second. Like, what was up with that? And Takafumi says, you know, I might have thought he was your boyfriend or something, you know, it's not a big deal. And Fujimiya's like, I don't have a boyfriend. And Takafumi's like, are you sure about that? It wouldn't surprise me if you did. You really are cute. And of course, she's super embarrassed about that, of course. And she's like, wait a minute. Does that mean you were about to pick a fight with my supposed boyfriend? And Takafumi's like, look, I thought you got sweet-talked by some ruffian punk over here, you know. I had to do something. And she's like hell I would get talked in this relationship by someone like that. And then she thinks to herself, like, wait a minute, even if I did, like, could you even have fought him? Takafumi's like, yeah, actually, Uncle gave me some of his magic. And he starts demonstrating, actually, what he would have done. He makes him and Fujimiya invisible, he makes camouflage clones of them, and he flies her up, actually, into the building. And she's kind of taken aback, like, why are you actually so good at using magic already? What the hell? And he's like, you know, I've wondered what it'd be like in modern society if we had magic, and what I would do to people like that, you know? I've thought about it for hours, and then we get this extremely long piece of dialogue, and even I'm like, holy shit, dude. And Fujimiya's like, alright, you've thought of this way too hard. You thought way too hard about this. And it's here that they head to the classroom and start talking with each other a bit. And Fujimiya says, you know, this isn't the first time you've done something like this for me, Takafumi. When we were in grade school, you did the same thing. You protected me against people. And Takafumi's like, really? I did? And then he has an idea, since he has Uncle's abilities right now. He ends up projecting her memories right here. And we see that scene play out. And he didn't protect shit from Fujimiya. Fujimiya was a bully, man. She was picking on other people, beating the shit out of them. And Takafumi runs up like, yo, guys, how could you push a girl? I just love how deep her voice is around other people. Then when Takafumi looks at her and says, are you alright? Are you alright, Fujimiya? Her voice gets all dainty and high-pitched, like, yeah, I'm okay. That shit is hilarious. And they're reflecting on that, and Fujimiya's like, you know, it kind of looked like I was the aggressor there. And Takafumi's like, yeah, I really, really misread that situation. And then we actually get a really cute scene, actually, where she gets up and whispers into Takafumi's ear that, you know, I was flattered in that situation, that you'd come to my rescue then and now. And maybe Takafumi isn't as stupid as I thought he was, because boy, it sure looked like that was a critical hit on him. You know, these two are really cute together. I will say that. They really are. They really have chemistry with each other. I find it really enduring. But the good times don't last, unfortunately, because they actually get interrupted by one of Fujimiya's friends, actually. She introduces herself as Sawa, and She is Fujimiya's friend from high school. Because if you remember, Takafumi and her did not go to high school together. And she kind of notices something about Takafumi right away. She's like, say, you know, Fujimiya's gotten a lot cuter in these past 6 months, hasn't she? Implying that, oh, since she ran back into you, she's starting to care about that stuff again, huh? Interesting, interesting. Trying to pique Takafumi's interest. It works. She tells Takafumi that, you know, you better watch out or someone might come in and take her. And Takafumi gets pissed. He's like, you don't say! Who is it? You should introduce me to them! Right now. And Takafumi's actually asking for her number, actually, to talk to her about this. And Fujimiya's like, yo, what are you doing with my friend's number? What are you gonna do? And the look on Takafumi's face is priceless. He's like, you know, not getting the number and not doing anything with the number are basically the same after all, as he has a shit-eating grin on his face. And she's like, you're the type of person that shouldn't have power, aren't you? But it's here Fujimiya gets a message on her phone realizing, oh yeah, I kind of did just leave my nephew with Uncle. So she goes, takes him home, they head back to the apartment, and they start continuing their conversation. And Uncle says, oh yeah, my story from earlier wasn't finished actually. So they head back into that projection at the end of the hedgehog incidents, and he asks them, like, you know, there's a hero around these parts I've been looking for. And it's here that Alicia actually asks for Edgar's sword, and she does, and she ends up propping it down into the ground, saying that the hero is me. I am the Shining Crusader, Alicia. And that's how our episode ends. And I told y'all, like, I'm not dumb. Like, it's only common sense that she would end up being the Shining Crusader. I literally said that in the last week's episode. Like, it only made sense. Like, come on now. She's like a holy mage to a crusader is something that's holy. It only makes sense. Like, come on now. But yeah, that's how our episode ends today. And I'm so sad, man. This show's so good, and it's going to be gone for a while. I'm not happy about that. We'll have to figure out something to do, actually, while Uncle's gone. Because I just can't not bring you guys a video on Wednesdays now. So we'll figure out another series to do for the time being. For right now. I might even do a video on that topic tomorrow, actually. But what did you guys think of this episode from Uncle from Another World? I actually liked it. I like that we took a step back from the fantasy for a little bit in this episode. And we got some real world stuff. Takafumi almost manned up. That scene's my favorite, of course. But y'all let me know in the comments what you thought of this episode. And yeah, it's just... I pray everyone that works on this show gets better soon, because it's going to feel real bad not having this series. But it is what it is. But until next time, guys, I hope you have a great day, week, month, and year. And until then, deuces, have a blessed day, and stay healthy. Stay healthy, guys. Take care of yourselves. Very important. I'll see you guys next time.